welcome to Storyboard. I'm Shibani Kharat. In a special chat today, we are catching up with Ali Harris Shere, Chief Operating Officer, Biscuits and Cakes Cluster, ITC Foods Division. Sunfeast Mom's Magic has launched the Will of Change campaign, which advocates for equal inheritance rights, particularly for daughters. This initiative aims to empower mothers to become a mom of change and lead the charge in advocating for equality at home. Ali is shedding light on what is the long-term commitment towards this purpose. How does Sunfeast differentiate itself in the competitive biscuit and snack market today, their approach to innovation in the biscuits and cakes category, and any particular trend around the festival that is catching their fancy. Ali, welcome to CNBC TV18.
Thank you so much, Shibani. Lovely to be with you.
For Sunfeast Mom's Magic, you have launched the Will of Change campaign, which advocates for equal inheritance rights, particularly for daughters. Why did you choose to align the brand with this issue?
So, Shibani, see, Mom's Magic is a purposive brand, and we've always had a point of view about the mothers and the cause that the brand stands for. There are two ways in which we look at multiple campaigns on Mom's Magic. One is that we've been championing the cause of the mother. We've been taking some issues that she has faced or she faces in her family. This time we thought that let's take up something slightly more sensitive, but something that has more impact to be made in society. And we realized that, when we were doing our initial research, we realized that equal inheritance was an issue. And the statistics that we came up with, which is only 7% of women get equal inheritance in will, was a very hard-hitting fact. And I thought, and we thought as a team, that it's a very good idea for us to take this cause and build awareness around this.
Okay, tell me, what is the objective that you have set out for yourself with this Mom of Change initiative? What is the long-term commitment towards this purpose?
So, see, the way we define the mother is we call her warmest superpower. She's the superpower because she has the ability to change. At the same time, she's warm. The way she would do it is very motherly. Now, and therefore, what we are looking as an eventual outcome of this campaign is this change in society, this shift in the outlook on how we look at inheritance. Because the moms have also possibly gone through a stage like this in their lives. They understand what it is and what it feels like. Coming from them will make a big difference. Also, they really don't discriminate between their children. We understand and realize that it might take us a little time for people to really come out in the open and commit and talk about it, but it needs to start from somewhere. And that 7%, like you said, is a very stark, hard-hitting fact. It needs to change. The laws in the country actually say that the inheritance should be equal between sons and daughters, and there's no reason why it should be different.
And how do you see the competitive landscape evolving in the biscuits and cakes market?
It's a hard-fought category. You are absolutely right. And just to give you a little bit of context, it's the largest FMCG category in India. It's the largest food category in India. So it's a very large category, and therefore everyone whoever has a play either in cookies, biscuits, or adjacent areas, try it and participate in this opportunity. So it's a hard-fought category. There are players who've been in this for the last 100 odd years. And therefore, it's important to understand that some of the advantages that large players had over a period of time are also going away. Technology now is available to everyone. Distribution, which used to be a big strength of large players, is now getting into alternate ways of distribution. So e-commerce has come in, modern trade has come in, which are breaking those barriers that used to be there for somebody new to come in and start selling their products. Now, in that context, it's very important for us to realize that the point that you were making, which is differentiation. The question is that are our offerings differentiated? Are our offerings superior to anybody else? Are we using the right technology? And therefore, can technology become a source of advantage for us? And that's what we ask ourselves on an everyday basis. When the distribution models are evolving, when e-commerce is becoming large, how can you understand e-commerce better than anybody else or better than players who are coming in now? How do you really have that first mover advantage in that sense on something that is coming up new is really important. And those are the things that can help us really stay ahead of stiff competition that is there in our category.
Also, if you can share your approach to innovation in the biscuits and cakes category, what are some of the innovations that have worked well in the recent past for you guys?
So I think innovation is really important. We really believe that, there is a dimension even to innovation. We believe that innovation is required for growth. Innovation will help you get that incremental growth that you need. But you possibly also need disruptive innovation, because it's the disruptive innovation that helps you with some dramatic change in power equation amongst the players that operate in a category. Because if you continue with what you have, you will not be able to make that dramatic shift in the power equation. Now, in that context, there are 2-3 ways in which we look at innovation. One, can we do something new to biscuits or cakes? So Dark Fantasy was one brand that we had launched a few years ago, which was the first of its kind. There used to be sandwich biscuits. We filled a cookie with molten chocolate, and the experience was very different. And if you create a category, you own it. We created that category, we own it. We are the market leaders in the filled cookies category. So what next on Dark Fantasy? We're working on multiple ideas, and that's one way of innovating. The other is that, biscuits as a category is also habit driven. You consume a Mari biscuit every day in the morning with your chai. You consume, so there is a habit of consumption. And therefore, there is another way to innovate, which is how do you get fluency in your innovation? So you do something on Mari, but you do it in a manner that it doesn't make the consumer, the current Mari consumer, it doesn't make it too difficult for them to shift, whether in terms of pricing or in terms of the product sensorials. Of course, you need to add value to what the consumers are having, and that becomes fluent innovation. So, for example, we have just done a product called Sunfeast Super Egg and Milk Biscuit. And the whole understanding was that it used to be glucose biscuits, and then milk biscuits came and tried to upgrade from glucose. Now the question is, what will upgrade from a milk biscuit? And how do you add value to a milk biscuit? And the way we did it, by adding egg to it, which is what is known to have goodness, protein, all of that. And therefore, a consumer who's having a milk biscuit will fluently upgrade possibly into a egg and milk biscuit. So that's the way we look at fluency as far as innovation is concerned. And thirdly, I spoke about it, which is right to win. Innovation is not only about new products. How do you continuously upgrade your existing offerings? How do you build more value in your existing products? How do you create that right to win that I spoke about is very, very critical.
What are the trends that you have observed in consumer preferences regarding, your biscuits and cakes?
So, I don't think there are any new trends that are emerging, Shivani. But, I think what is important for us to understand the 2-3 things. One is that biscuits is a widely penetrated category. Almost every household in this country gets a biscuit. And therefore, value sensitivity to biscuits is quite high, because you consume every day, you consume large quantity on an everyday basis. And also, there's this maximizer generation that is coming up, because what has happened is that the exposure that is there for the consumers has gone up significantly because of the digital era that we live in. But the reality and the means haven't skyrocketed in that manner. So the consumers are really looking for, the aspiration is there, but the means are limited. And therefore, they're maximizing in whatever resources that they have. And therefore, deal seeking, trying to get as much as possible is happening. And therefore, we need to be cognizant of that trend. The second trend is the fact that, there is indulgence and there is health. You see in the same household, both the trends will be seen. With the same consumer, you will see it. In the morning, the consumer will look for a healthy biscuit, which is a Mari or a digestive kind of a biscuit. But in the evening, they are happy and indulging in a Dark Fantasy. So, the same consumer demonstrates multiple needs through the day. So that's second trend. Then the biscuit also is a habit. You consume the same biscuit almost, for example, every day with your chai and don't get bored with it. So we need to cognize for these trends, and then we need to continue to work. Premiumization is another trend. So how do you really look at exciting options for consumers? Because some consumers are looking for that variety and experience.
And then finally, we are meeting in the thick of the festival. What are some of the key trends around the festival? Which markets are doing well?
The way we participate in the festival season is through gifting. We have a lot of our brands in biscuits and outside of biscuits and foods, which participate in the gifting opportunity. So this year we've designed some really beautiful packs for dark fantasy, which you can gift to your loved ones. So that's how we are participating in the festival opportunity. Now, having said that, the truth be told, there's a little bit of pressure that we are seeing as far as consumption is concerned. Inflation has gone up significantly, and we are finding a little bit of pressure on consumption. But we've got a very good response on our gifting range so far. But we are yet to finally conclude on how this year's gifting season will go. But we also believe that there is that seize the day mentality. And even if there is a little bit of stress, the consumers in India really want to live in the moment and enjoy the festival times, because they are possibly the best times in the year. And we hope that they will not compromise around these times.
Well, Ali, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us today. It is time for a short break. On the other side, we have Ipsita Das, the Managing Director of Moet Hennessy India, who's sharing insights on some of the trends shaping their business and more. Welcome back. Chandon, the premium sparkling wine brand under Moet Hennessy umbrella, is celebrating 10 years in India. We are catching up with Ipsita Das, Managing Director of Moet Hennessy India, on this occasion and speaking with her about how Chandon tailors products for the Indian palate. How do they approach balancing the established legacy of Moet Hennessy with what younger generation or Gen Z wants, and with consumer tastes changing rapidly world over? How do they make sure their product portfolio remains relevant? Ipsita, welcome to CNBC TV18.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, Shabani.
And congratulations on the 10 years of Chandon.
Thank you. It's a moment of pride and joy for us. Thank you.
So tell us about the 10-year journey of Chandon. It's a premium wine. How are you celebrating it?
Well, there's a lot happening. But before I talk about the journey itself, I'll give you a snippet of the origin of Chandon in India, right? Because it's special because Chandon is Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy's only winery in this country. And 65 years back, when Robert Jean from the house of Moet and Chandon, who used to make champagnes, and he realized that, you know what, with only about 35,000 hectares in Champagne, you will never have enough champagne for the world. So how do you make sure you get more of these bubbles out there to the people beyond France? And he went out, he went beyond France, he went to Argentina, and then he went to California and Brazil and Australia and China, and then to India all over the last 65 years to create the bubbles in the same way that Moet and Chandon had created the bubbles. And interestingly, that got us to Chandon in India, and the last 10 years has been nothing short of an adventure. And we've obviously started Chandon, and we are very proud about 3 things in this journey. The products we have made, which has been built with immense craftsmanship, keeping excellence in mind. There's been a lot of innovation. It's in our DNA. And I think the one part that makes us really proud is Chandon in India has put premium and luxury wines from India on the global map.
Sure. And you're also launching the vintage to celebrate, to commemorate the 10th anniversary of Chandon. So tell us more, like it's only a limited edition that you're launching with only 1,200 bottles, I believe. So tell us more about that.
You have a lot of data points. It is made from our early harvest. So Chandon was opened in 2014, and this is one of the early harvests, the grapes that are being used for the vintage 2015. It is the first and the only vintage sparkling wine coming from India.
Wow.
And it's from a product perspective, it's a Chardonnay and a Zinfandel. And yes, it is limited edition. We have just 1,200 bottles coming in. All of them are numbered.
Yeah.
And yeah, we are looking forward to this gifting season, especially because numbered bottles are special, and we believe coming just at the time of Diwali, this is going to be a special one as we celebrate our 10-year journey with the Vintage 2015 as well.
Yeah, you know, for a product like wine, where old is gold, of course, you know, something which is aged, something which is old, you know, or consumers tend to pay a premium for it. So how do you balance out, you know, that legacy, the age that the consumer demands or is looking to pay with innovation?
Yeah. Shibani, I personally think there is a space for both. There's a space for the tradition, and then there's a space for innovation. I think when it comes to wine, and especially sparkling wine, launching a vintage edition is nothing but a very traditional way of winemaking. But launching it from the house of Chandon, from India, keeping in mind the Indian terroir of winemaking, is nothing but innovation.
We're catching in the middle of the festive season. You know, what are some of the trends that you're picking up at Moet Hennessy in the country? How are consumers consuming your beverages today around the festival season?
I think the Vintage 2015 is definitely one of our offerings during Diwali. As well, across our portfolio, we have a bunch of festive packs that we've launched.
Sure.
We've launched the Shivan and Naresh pack for Glenmorangie as well. So we believe like the festive season in India is going to be obviously a lot of gifting. But from a consumption point of view, we have seen that the home parties are here to rule over the next 3 months. And a lot of home parties are ruled by cocktailing these days.
Premiumization has been a big trend around, you know, FMCG, alco beverages over the past couple of months in the country, and everyone is launching their value-added products, premium portfolio. You already are present in this category. Tell us, how are you solidifying your position in this space?
Yeah, I think, Shibani, we've been blessed and lucky to be a part of the Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy family, right? And all our maisons, and 35 of them around Moet Hennessy, have had luxury in its DNA. And when we say luxury, it's not just about a product in a bottle, it's also the experience that it comes with. And for us in India, solidifying our position on luxury has come in multifold way. And the first is, of course, the product portfolio we have for India. And whether you see the imported portfolio that we have, which is around Glenmorangie, which is our whiskey offering, or the very high-end champagnes like Armand de Brignac that we have launched in India, right? That definitely helps us cater to this premiumizing and the desirability for premium products in India. But besides the product, we also have a lot of partnerships that are going on, right? So we work very closely with Tarun Taliani, we've worked closely with Manish Malhotra, who's helped us create festive editions in the past and even this year for gifting specifically. So that definitely does help us kind of give what Indians are looking for as the new thing. But I think the last one, which is very special to Chandon for us, is our brand home. So Chandon, as the winery, our brand home is in Nashik. And it's an extremely serene and a luxury place where we believe we are able to give the experience that the premium consumer is looking forward to today. Yeah. So all of this put together, Shibani, I think is helping us and will continue to give us the levers to solidify our position in India.
Yeah, and you know, like this is typically the season, the festival season, all the way up to the new year is, you know, where we see an uptick in alco-bev consumption in the country as well. And this year in particular has been very unique. At one end, we have seen how, you know, Indian single malts are, you know, being launched. People have taken interest towards consuming Indian single malts that are coming up. A lot of global players are, you know, like making specialized offerings for the Indian consumers. What is your strategy to lure the Indian palate or the Indian consumer?
Yeah. So I think Indians are extremely experimental today. And as we are experimental, we are also aspiring and desiring what's happening in the Western world as much as we are proud of what we are making in India. So it's a great mix of what the Indian consumer wants today. So yes, as we are premiumizing, we are also bringing in a lot of products across our portfolio to cater to that need, right? So for example, I'll give you in a whiskey drinking nation, we have Glenmorangie Tale of Tokyo that's coming in. And very interestingly, it's a single malt made by Dr. Bill Lumsden, who's our whiskey master. And he's worked with a Japanese team, and he's actually aged the whiskey in the Mizunara cask, which is extremely rare and something that we believe that Indians would love as a new kind of a whiskey that's coming in. So one is that, and on the other side, right, you have Shonno. So whether it is the Orva in a 60% red wine drinking country where 60% of the wine consumption is happening through red wine, or you have, a Shonno Delice, which is a slightly sweeter sparkling wine that we make. Right? So there are different products catering to the different Indian palates, and we have a range of them to cater to that for the Indian consumer.
And how are some of the global trends impacting, your strategies and the India market? For example, globally, non-alcoholic beverages like non-alcoholic wine, non-alcoholic beer, we have seen a huge uptick for that, even around big sporting events as well. So how is it impacting your strategy? Are these trends catching on? Like, for example, Sober October is a big trend globally. So is it catching on at all?
Well, I think it's a mixed answer there, Shabani, right? So while we love copying what's happening outside, we have a mind of our own, right? Yeah. And yes, there is an initial trend of 0% alcohol that we've started to see outside India. And in fact, because of that, LVMH has very recently got a stake in this company called French Bloom from France, which is 0% sparkling wine. However, in India, I think it's still pretty nascent. It's still, while it's growing, it's still small. We'll have to wait and watch on how that entire phenomena takes up in India. Having said that, I think Indians have been very conscious, and there has been this trend of mindful drinking. So, and you see that with premiumization, right? So even if you're gonna drink, you drink the best, but you do not necessarily drink beyond your first or the second glass.
And today, at Moet Hennessy in India, how is your business apportioned between different brands? For example, Glenmorangie or Chandon, how is it? And what are plans and focus areas for each of, these brands?
We have about 35 odd brands in India under the umbrella of Moet Hennessy, and this ranges from spirits to wines, from whiskey to vodka to cognac, to sparkling wine, and the list goes on, and large part of which we are obviously bringing in from their origin countries, and Shonno we are making in India. So as the name goes, Moet Hennessy, both the champagne as well as the cognac portfolio of ours are the star segment, right? So they contribute, however, about 20% of our volume business in India, in the domestic market. And while India continues to be a 70% whiskey drinking nation, Glenmorangie and Ardbeg put together is about 30% of our business. And last but not the least is Shonno, which is our baby in India. We are something that we are very proud of, is another 30% of the business. Right? And I think our focus will be to solidify our presence in these categories as we also continue to cater to the evolving needs of the Indian consumer in the near future.
With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all of our content on Facebook, X and YouTube. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time next week. See you soon. And here is wishing you all a happy Diwali.